Hi, what's your name?
Well, it's Nancy now, but it was Naseeb.
Okay, and what generation Canadian are you?
uh, uh, I was born here.
You were born
so
here, but your parents were.
Parents were born in India.
Okay, so first
Yeah.
generation
Yeah.
Canadian.
Yeah.
Okay, very nice. And which city were you born in? In Canada?
I was born in Duncan.
Duncan.
But my parents were living in Shawnigan Lake at that time. My dad
Okay.
was working in Shawnigan Lake at that time.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. And like, what do you know about your family's immigration story? Do you know when did they come to Canada? How did they come to Canada?
I'm
And,
not quite sure, but we think it was either 1929 or 1930.
Okay,
And my oldest sister was born in India.
okay.
And then the rest of us were born in Canada. The rest of the family was born here, yeah. The kids,
Okay.
yeah. That was what she read. That was my brother that wrote that.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Okay, and so okay, and like they didn't, and like your parents didn't share with you like how did they make the decision to come to Canada? Like you don't know much about that.
They died when I was so young
Oh.
that we were kids. We
Yeah.
ran around and played. We weren't interested in
That's
knowing
true.
him much.
That's true. That's true. No, no problem. No problem. And like, how do you primarily identify yourself, like in terms of faith
Pardon?
and like how do you primarily identify yourself in terms of ethnicity and faith? Ethnicity would be, I guess, Punjabi because your parents were from Punjab.
Yes.
Is that
yes,
right?
Sikhs.
They were
yeah,
Sikhs.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
okay, okay.
yeah.
And like how was it? Like you mentioned that like you were of a Punjabi descent, like you came from a Punjabi family, but you were born here. So how was it growing up as a person of a Punjabi descent in Canada, especially in the Duncan area?
It-
What were your experiences in terms of challenges or successes on the positive side?
Because we were here in Paldi and went to school here, and like we said, it was so many different cultures and everything else that it was a normal growing up, I guess. Yeah,
Okay.
I would say. Yeah. I didn't have no problems.
No challenges, nothing of,
No,
of
not
that
really.
sort.
No.
Okay.
No, it was just hard when mom and dad were gone. But even
Yeah.
as we were growing up, we learned to milk cows and look after gardens in the summertime
Yeah.
and go to school. And because three of my sisters were older than me, they knew more English than I did. So by the time I started grade one, well, I could speak both, like
Yeah.
Punjabi and English.
So did you have extended family who kind of used to look after you?
Pardon?
Like did you have extended family with whom you stayed over here?
Afterwards?
Yeah, I mean like you said after your parents passed away.
That was like in that letter, what my brother wrote. It was he was a bachelor, but he was a friend of our dad's, and came from a village close to where my dad.
Originally in
was born.
India.
In
The
India.
village in India. Okay,
yes,
okay,
I'm
okay,
sorry,
okay,
yes.
okay.
And so after our mum died, so dad could still keep working, he came and
Okay.
looked after us kids. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, that's nice.
So yeah.
Okay, and can you tell us something about the cultural aspect, like some of the traditions and practices that you or your family used to celebrate over here, like like the Indian festivals, Diwali, Vaisakhi.
Just
Or-
like they were saying, those were we didn't go to the Vancouver ones very much, which
Okay.
was in May. They were saying, I think they said, but Vaisakhi because Mr. Mayo used to get a bus for all the people that wanted to go there.
Okay.
Nobody stayed in hotels or anything then.
Yeah.
It was all the East Indian community there, and they put up everybody, all the kids and everybody that came. So somebody would go to this house, somebody would go to that house, and
Okay.
yeah. And then he always got us a bus for the May 24th. Weekend, which used to be a big celebration in Nanaimo, and then of course the July 1st one here. So
Okay.
yeah, so we always,
So mostly in terms of if we talk about Indian festivals, So Vaisakhi was the one that
Yeah.
was widely celebrated,
And this one here.
and this one. And what about others like Holi, Lodi, Diwali, or
Well, no,
or other or any other Indian
no,
festival?
we never did any of that.
Oh,
No,
okay.
no.
And has it changed? Like for example, now like do now people celebrate all the other festivals that they didn't
Oh,
used to do
yes.
at that time when you were growing up?
Well,
Has it changed?
We started to, even then, like, because we were going to school,
Yeah.
like the Christmas and Easter and all that we celebrated
Yeah.
too. Like we did whatever, because the schools would do it
Schools
with
would
us.
do, yeah.
Yeah, and birthdays, of course. We
Yeah,
celebrated birthdays,
Yeah.
and weddings and that. But anniversaries or anything, no, not so much in
But,
those days.
but I want to ask you about the Indian festivals. Like, do people celebrate all those Indian festivals now? You know, like
No,
not
we
even.
didn't have
Yeah.
not too many. Just those were
Just
the
those.
main
Oh,
ones.
okay.
Or like if somebody got married, or like we went to temple every Sunday.
Yeah.
I could even read and write a letter in those days, but not anymore.
Yeah. Okay. And is there anything any important incident that you want to share about in terms of community life over here in Duncan when you were growing up or when you were
Well, just joined in on everything, whatever had to
Yeah.
be done or whatever, and nothing really, not special, but
Okay.
just as a community, just did whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, and like and what about Paldi at that time? Like how was the? Do you have any recollections of what was going on over here at that time? And
The witch.
Paldi, this area.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any recollections of what was here at that time?
At that time.
Yeah. When you were growing up.
Oh well, the mill
Yeah.
And
Can
the-
you tell us something more about that?
and our house, where our house was, the railroad track ran right in front
Okay.
of our house. All of them, most of them were along that one stretch there and that. Yeah.
Okay.
Run out and wave to the to train guys and everything. As kids, you know
Yeah.
what we did. Yeah, but
Okay.
just kid things and that.
Okay.
Nothing really special. No.
Nothing really special. Okay.
Well, not to me anyway. But like she was saying, we would walk to Duncan. And well, we had the store as far as I could remember. But the ladies from Paldi would get together, and all the children, and the railroad tracks. We would walk along the railroad tracks to Hillcrest.
Okay.
Yeah, it was,
Very nice.
and then the Masachi ladies and children would do the same, and they would walk here maybe once or twice in the summertime.
Yeah.
So just everybody getting together, yeah.
Getting
So,
together. Very nice. Yeah.
yeah.
And like how were the relations of the Punjabi community in at that time with the other communities, say like the Aboriginal or other communities present over here at that time?
Well,
Do you have any
No.
memories of that?
no, it just as we said, we were in kind of in one section, and the Japanese were in one section, and the Chinese were in another section.
So no interaction.
Pardon?
Was there no interaction between all the communities?
Oh, definitely there's interaction. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, like that's what I want to ask
Oh,
you.
I see.
That
Yeah.
like,
Oh,
how was the
yeah.
overall relationship?
Yeah.
Was it positive? Was it
Yeah.
negative? Or
Very positive.
very positive?
Very positive.
Even with the Aboriginal people?
We didn't have any Aboriginal people
okay.
here.
Yeah.
We didn't have any. No, none at all. No. So we didn't have much contact
Okay.
with them. Just
Okay.
the ones that used to live here. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And another thing I want to ask you is that do you know any places of significance in this area and region? You know, which you would kind of attribute with some historical importance. For example, this Paldi Gurdwara, it has a very rich history, right?
Well-
So, any other place in this area apart from this?
Well, Mr. and Mrs. Mail's house was always impressive because they had the best.
The best, the palace.
Yeah, and then like the cookhouses and that, they're all gone now. You know,
Yeah,
and,
no longer in existence, right?
pardon?
They are no longer in existence, right?
No, No, and the Japanese, that I guess that's where they started, where they have the big barrels where they have the hot water
Yeah.
and then like for bathing and that.
Hmm.
But no, our houses didn't, no indoor plumbing, no running water for the longest time. We'd go to the well and bring the water home and warm it on the wood stoves. So it wasn't easy, but it was life.
Yeah.
You know, it didn't matter to us. That
That's
was
true.
life, and we just did what had to be done. So that was it.
Good, good. And we pretty much covered everything. Anything else apart from what I've asked you that you want to share?
Just that it was a tough life, but
Yeah.
we got through it, and
Yeah.
now children and grandchildren, and now we've got 2 great grandsons.
Okay.
So the little one, which is born on Friday, so
Okay, very nice.
yeah,
Congratulations.
yeah. So the generations are going. So
That's very nice. And are all the traditions and the history, is it being passed on to the future generations? Like, what's your opinion on that?
well, one thing.
The language,
Yeah,
the
no
rich history
language.
of this area. Like Palvi and all
No
that.
language, I'm sorry. I'm even losing it. My sister's really still good at it, but I'm not. But my daughter's married to a white man. She just lost him this year.
Oh,
She was my
sorry to hear
youngest
that.
daughter. And but so there's lots of intermarriages now.
Okay.
But we try to pass on what we can to
Yeah.
them, what they want to hear, and
Okay.
I
Nice,
don't
nice.
want to hear.
Yeah. But well, thank you so much for taking out the time
Okay.
and sharing your family history. It was very, good to know that.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.